Awareness. The schools can do a lot and lot and lot for this one. To some extent, okay, a lot. This is my belief that the teachers have got a great role to play to understand the situation, and at least because there is an institution, it is easier to transfer. If you generally say, oh, this has to be done, we cannot reach every parent. We cannot reach every community. We'll be just talking in the air. There are enough things happening. What is actionable? We can start from the schools because there is a structure there. There's a reason to be there. So again, we can make it Vidyalaya. Alaya means temple. Let it be a temple of learning, not just being literate, learning all aspects of it. A little by little, if you can bring in, if every teacher is aware of it, there is no problem. And you see, again, while loving, we can be firm. We don't have to be excusing what is not acceptable in children in a loving, kind manner because we care for them. If we're really caring for them, we would care. Who likes to take vaccine? It hurts. But if vaccine is needed, it is needed. It is good. If I don't understand what is good, we bring the rules. So how to deal with it? What works with one child will not work with another child. But when they're together as a group in the class, it works far better than one child. So my action point will be start with the schools.
Your talks are amazing. And right now, the talk you have come out with, when joint families are becoming nuclear, when there is only a single child at the house, children are no longer taught how to greet. An adult comes, they just walk off. They don't know how to smile, how to interact, how to give a stroke. At a time when a child is moving into a place which is not their known space, they don't know how to behave, what their emotions are, what they're feeling, and they misbehave. And the parents' way of dealing with it is shoving a phone. This talk is extremely important in this time to understand our wisdom, our behavior, our thought practices. So a big thank you to you for recognizing the importance of it and explaining it in such a simple way. So happy that in WishwaTalks we're able to come out with these talks because our intention is to build the social heritage of our country and to protect what we already had. I remember the tehzeeb we had in Hyderabad no longer exists, just going away completely. That wisdom is going away completely. It's not respected. The West is aped. High for everything high.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you so much. With this, we'll go to our question and answer.
On a very interesting presentation. And I want to ask a question. How approach of emotional literacy, how integration between ancient wisdom and modern psychology can support resolution modern social problems. How this meeting can support resolution problems of social inequality, of poverty, and another social problems.
So what typically happens is that this is my interpretation. Most of the times we are heavily self-centered. We talk mostly or we think mostly about ourselves without realizing how does it impact the other person. In any transaction, if there is a net loss, it is not a good transaction. Unless there is a net gain, the transaction means nothing. So it has to grow. The emotional safety, the values should grow whenever there is a transaction. If you're conscious of it, then the basic foundations are a heartfelt love, a sincerity, the integrity, empathy, and respecting others' dignity. Rather than wasting our time, what will others think about me? Where will I stand? Am I the richest person of the world? Am I this? Am I that? That doesn't matter who bothers about us. We are unnecessarily wasting our time living for others. Let us live for ourselves. And we live for ourselves again when we respect ourselves and others. I cannot respect you unless I got self respect. So, this is the foundation that I believe, try to practice. I might not have answered your query directly, but this is the foundation that I am working on.
Okay. So, what I would like to say is, I'd like to add a little bit here.
Yeah.
You know, in the olden days, we had joint families in the villages, and they were very respected. And there was a certain behavior, a wisdom, an etiquette. Today, with urbanization, with the understanding that prosperity is only money. I have money, I have everything. I don't need to be courteous. I don't need to be sweet. I don't even need to hear the other person. I don't need to understand what the other person is saying. This culture is shattering our country. When you talk about equality, some of the rich are behaving in this fashion, whereas the poor is being divided in our country, saying we have caste systems, we are rich and poor, we don't. So even the people who are unprivileged, when if you go back 50 years, 100 years ago, they had so much of culture, so well behaved. If someone comes to your house, you treat them like guests, whether you are in a rich man's house or a poor man's house. The fabric of our society is breaking up. Yes, as inequalities are growing, as urbanization is happening, the old culture, the old wisdom which we had, whether you were a rich person or a poor person, whether it was your enemy, whether it was your friend, your enemy comes to your house, also you're treated. What they showed you in Ramayana or Mahabharata, they said, no, if they come, you treat them well. This behavior, this wisdom is fast disappearing. So when when the question is about how can this wisdom and ancient psychology address inequality and problems, this ancient wisdom and the modern psychology, if you are present to it, if we talk about it, if you bring awareness to it, definitely, whether it is the rich or the poor, if this wisdom is brought back into our culture rather than aping the West, the differences themselves will come down. India had a methodology of the 4 stages of life. You are a child, you're educating yourself, then you are a gruhastha getting married, then you're contributing back to society, and then you're leaving to sannyasi. So even the rich would share their bounty. This whole culture is fast disappearing, encouraging inequalities in a bigger fashion. Previously in India, even if the villages had inequality, everybody had the same food, everybody had the same amount of clothes and the same amount. Maybe the rich had some silks, but the poor had cottons. But pre-colonization, there was a certain amount of lifestyle. Whichever strata of society you lived, it existed. Now it has gone down and we need to re-establish it. Yeah, that's my answer, Shmuel. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, this answer, and thank you very much.
Yeah. As an officer from defense background, you will agree, I assume, a journalist who went to cover the funeral of a Kargil martyr in Hyderabad was lamented that except for the soldiers accompanying the military truck, carrying his body draped in tricolor, the martyr's father, nobody else came to express solidarity, respect. But close by people were shouting, "Bay for India winning a cricket match." This is a cricket crazy nation where people die in stampedes over cricket. Conclusion, a nation which gets its priorities wrong. This is an example of how empathetic we are. Behavioral science has to be taught in school, like we used to have model science in our primary school days. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was just a statement.
True. What we value changes the culture.
Yes. Next question from Nagarajan Krishnamurthy. Do you think excessive human rights, women rights, child rights are spoiling the individual and society?
Along with every right, every authority, there's a responsibility. If there is an imbalance that I say it is my right, but I'm not responsible for anything, there is no balance, then it will spoil. So rights are necessary. Otherwise, there can be exploitation. When a right is given, it doesn't mean anarchy. If we allow anarchy to happen for some other motive. So what is typically happening in the name of rights, we are not interested. We mean all of us are responsible ultimately. When we say, okay, right has to be given, along with that, we are not teaching, or first of all, when we shout out, okay, this is the right, along with it, we should also equally define what is the responsibility to have that right. So this is what I find is the imbalance.
So when children of this generation are talking about getting rights and take no responsibility, whether cleaning up their own rooms, cooking, or having survival skills, or sharing in the responsibilities, there's a huge shift. Previously, the entire family worked for the well-being of the family. Today, the new generation is me, my wife, my child, or okay, it's just me. So how does it work, these rights and responsibilities? They want the rights of the grandparents, the parents, the properties. But when it comes to responsibility, no, it's only me. What do I get out of it?
Yeah, this is something debated world over, not only in the Indian context. Like in China, about 20 years back, a family could have only one child. With that one child, what happened? There is a lot of abortion of girl child that time also. Infanticides or abortions, whatever it is, the male children grew much larger in proportion. Then, having only one child, they were called the princess of the family. They were overprotected. Anything was accepted. So there is a stage. My nephew was in China for about 3 years, so he has seen firsthand, and he was explaining to me how they are becoming spoiled brats. Now, because they're authoritarian government, they can control it. They can change the thing the way they want, much faster than what we can do in a democracy. Now, again, the things are changing in China as I see the news reports telling that. Now they are telling it is necessary, it is important for the children to understand their responsibility. They can't be the total entitled on their own. There has to be an accountability. Now they have to clean their classroom. They have to help parents at home. So it is done in a mass scale in a bigger way. In a democracy, for such values to soak in, it takes longer. We cannot dictate and all that. Awareness. The schools can do a lot and lot and lot for this one. To some extent, okay, a lot. This is my belief that the teachers have got a great role to play to understand the situation, and at least because there is an institution, it is easier to transfer. If you generally say, oh, this has to be done, we cannot reach every parent. We cannot reach every community. We'll be just talking in the air. There are enough things happening. What is actionable? We can start from the schools because there is a structure there. There's a reason to be there. So again, we can make it Vidyalaya. Alaya means temple. Let it be a temple of learning, not just being literate, learning all aspects of it. A little by little, if you can bring in, if every teacher is aware of it, there is no problem. And you see, again, while loving, we can be firm. We don't have to be excusing what is not acceptable in children in a loving, kind manner because we care for them. If we're really caring for them, we would give. Who likes to take vaccine? It hurts. But if vaccine is needed, it is needed. It is good. If I don't understand what is good, we bring the rules. So how to deal with it? What works with one child will not work with another child. But when they're together as a group in the class, it works far better than one child. So my action point will be start with the schools. And I can share my experience sometimes later in person.
Yes. Okay. Ms. Nirmal Agarwal, Ms. Nirmal Agarwal, would you like to ask your question yourself? Please unmute yourself if you want to.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Emotions are triggered by outside factors. So how can we handle that emotions so that we can be peaceful from our inside?
Yeah.
Inner world is disturbed due to emotions.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
So what is the process we can handle those emotions to be calm?
It is very contextual, depending upon what is our outer world and who is available to us as a guide and mentor and a teacher. Yeah. Trishant wanted to say something?
So you can just say Hare Krishna.
Okay. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, yes. No, it again depends on the context, as I just mentioned. Okay, Krishna told Arjuna in such a beautiful way how to handle his emotions, how to handle misgiving. There is some learning that happens. The whole lot of Bhagavad Gita treasured all over the world. Krishna could tell to Arjuna in that context because Krishna held that position of respect. And the same advice was to come from someone else who did not live his character, who did not have that authentic position, that wouldn't have worked. So Hare Krishna works where people respect Hare Krishna. Somewhere else you may get beaten up for telling Hare Krishna. We have seen it happening. Anyway, that is on the lighter side. So getting back to that, in Mahabharata it is very easy for Sri Krishna to correct Arjuna's emotions. In some places it is extremely difficult. We cannot change Netanyahu. He has been bombarding, from the 10 palace in his form. The objectives are ulterior. It is not what is expressed, what is told, and what is acted inside. They're all different. So in some cases, yes, we are victims of the world. I can say idealistically we can change everything. Sometimes it is not. But we can continue to put our efforts and we definitely will see the results. Sometimes you have to wait out. Sometimes you have to be patient. Sometimes you have to keep silent. Like Narasimha Rao kept so silent, and he expressed so much more with the silence in 17 languages. He could have expressed, there could have been urge to express, but there is a most dignified silence. Manmohan Singh, especially in the second tenure, probably his silence was out of scare. Silence was helplessness. So every action that we do, silence itself, when nothing is expressed, is an expression. No data is a data. So howsoever, we can start with ourselves. If we treat our neighbors kindly, our co-workers kindly, our family members kindly, there is a feedback mechanism. Automatically, they change their behavior. You can see you have 10 friends. You don't have the same behavior with each one of them. They're all close to you. But the way you greet each one of them, the topics you pick up to talk, the way you connect with them, each one is different. So there's a mutual force which builds up, feeding each other. So from our side, if we say the ground truths of respecting other person's dignity, trusting ourselves and them, things change. I don't want to get into the stories, they do change.
Yes, I'd like to add a little bit to this. I have posted a picture. It's the amygdala. The amygdala is the small almond-shaped brain structure which processes emotions, particularly fear, anxiety, aggression.
Correct.
Something happens to us externally. We are either fighting or flighting or in flight. Whenever we feel threatened, whenever we feel unheard, our amygdala starts acting. So one thing is we immediately react. We either blurt something we shouldn't, our tone of voice goes up, we get aggressive, or we do something that we regret later on. So the way to deal with it is first breathing, deep breathing, mindfulness. Stop to think what is happening. Why did the person say this? What was his reason? What is the context? What did he mean to do? Or just go for a little walk or count 10 or go and sit in the garden or walk in the nature. And ensure you also in the long run have good sleep so that you know how to react. So it's important that there will be different reasons why people behave the way they do. As Vijay Bhatji said, the context is important. When you have asked external factors, what exactly do you mean by external factors?
External factors, I mean, some people misbehave and then our emotion is triggered and we feel sadness.
Yeah, I will tell deliberately we have to practice something like, my personal experience. I used to be very irritated with the drivers on the road, say auto rickshaws. They're waiting for an opportunity to fight. But whenever they irritate me, I deliberately give a smile. Now it has become a practice. How dare you? No, I said, okay, you are welcome. No issue. I do not know what pains that you're going through. Why you are in such a hurry? There may be a genuine reason for you to hurry and disturb the other traffic. Fine, I give a smile. It works. In the class when I teach, first thing is the trust. Telling the students, okay, I accept you as you are. We are learning the whole thing together. We are a team. And it works right from the lower primary up to post-graduation. It works beautifully. It works with my grandson. He's a very naughty boy. It worked with my daughter always, of course. No doubt about that. So in many ways, we have to understand and make it work. No, as I just mentioned, you see the people from, especially the political parties, how they shout out, how they do that. But you see, some of them are so calm. They're able to express their thoughts so beautifully. I got very high respect. Like, look, listen to Shashi Tharoor. He's got very strong points to make. Very, very meaningful and the most respected speakers of the world. See how he makes his points. He doesn't build an enmity. He doesn't make a situation worse than what it is, if not better. And this is a lifelong dedication to develop that skill. And whatever Shivani told about the neural structure, how it works, enough proofs there. If you understand the neural science a little, it is beautiful. I just mentioned the name of one book, Thinking Fast and Slow. On the same lines, but not as deep as Shivani said, okay, he doesn't analyze that. But it's very relevant in the time of this machine learning age. How we respond. Like a machine, do we respond or we respond to the emotions? Is it based on the stored experience or is based on our current thinking? So this thinking fast and thinking slow, those who are interested, like Kahneman is no more, but one of the greatest thinker, Nobel laureate. And this triad of the body, mind, behavior, there are so many medical practitioners starting from the Harvard Medical School who say no medicine, I treat you without medicine. So there are enough proofs to say that these are not just theories, they work.
Nirmalji, I hope it is
Thanks.
answered for you.
Thank you.
So this is from Nagarajan Krishnamurthy. Economic independence creates ego, which leads to superiority complex and overconfidence in minds of individuals, which in turn leads to disrespect and neglecting the persons who are not at present required and needed. Yeah. So what's your take on this?
see, this is a one-sided thing.
Yeah.
Narayan
Right.
Murthy.
Sir, I've seen people who are more broke than me but have a very inflated sense of ego.
Exactly. Nanda Nilekani, Narayan Murthy, whom I met a few times on various things. I don't find an iota of disrespect when they talk to anybody. Sam Maneksha, he was pretty rich. There is a story that his driver said that, okay, after driving you around, I can't drive anybody. I retire from here, uniformed soldier. So he said he gave him a gift. What gift he gave? 10 acres of land. He was rich enough. Dr. Narayan Reddy, who passed away 3-4 years ago. He had 10 acres of land in Bangalore. You can see how many hundreds of crores it would have been. He lived as a farmer till his last day, working in his field, sweating it out. He traveled only by public transportation, by bus, with the clothes that he washed himself, one dhoti and one shirt, and he went around the world with that. And nobody could ever suspect that he was so wealthy. And he lived like a very, very, very normal person. I was fortunate to interact with him in many cases. So there are enough examples where we find those who are wealthy, who don't have this nonsense into their head. And as Trishan said, somebody who is may not be all that, maybe doing other things.
So can I
please.
mention a story?
Yeah, please.
So my grandpa, he ran away from his house at the age of 8. And because his parents used to drink a lot and fight with each other and beat him up too. So he ran away and he went to Coorg Madikeri and Kushal Nagar. And he started working in this tiny tea shop serving tea. And one day, one gentleman stepped into the shop. He pretty much owned all the estates around that shop. And he came in and he was like, why are you working here? You're supposed to be studying. So my grandpa told him all the story. And he was like, okay, you're not working here from tomorrow. You're going to be studying in a boarding school. He got him admitted. He took care of his primary education till the time he was 17. Eventually, my grandpa reached out to him and he was like, sir, you tell me what can I do as work? Because you got me educated. He was like, serve the nation. So my grandpa joined the Indian Navy, back then the Royal British Navy.
Okay.
And
nice. Very good. I feel proud.
And then he was part of the 1946 Indian Navy revolt. So the person who got him educated, made him gave him an opportunity to grow up, was Field Marshal Cariappa, the first Field Marshal of the country. So yes, I wouldn't have been sitting here if Mr. Field Marshal Cariappa wasn't there. So yeah, he was a super humble person when it came to being how to be with kids and everybody, but at the same time, he held a stature which was the pride of the country also.
True. True.
So I'd like to add a little bit. That's wonderful, Prashant, to hear. What I like about hearing all this is each of us are common men meeting together and discussing. So anyway, one thought process I had. Economic independence creates ego. So especially when you get the women men angle, most women are not allowed to become economic independent, and the reason is given that they will get an ego, they will get a superiority complex, they will break families. So there is a thought process which I have heard around me, but that's not the truth. Yes, economic independence does give the women independence to voice when people cross boundaries, which they otherwise do not. So in India, girls are getting more educated, more responsible. Boys are not changing at the same pace that girls are. Does that mean that women have become economic independence and have ego? No. It means that there is a new way of understanding what are boundaries, what is right, what is wrong. It needs to be redefined and readdressed with the same old wisdom. So this is a very blanket and generic statement. It cannot be taken at face value. Yes, joint family systems taught us affectionate, sharing, sacrifice, obedience, respecting others and elders. Yes, there is a need today to redefine the family system such that we protect the past wisdom that we had, the families, joint family system wisdom we have, and move with times. It's extremely important that India makes that step today to keep thousands of years old family system strong. Yeah. Then the next question is, if we are advocating ancient wisdom, then women should not be allowed to come out and work, and all males should rather provide everything in their household. Is it? Yeah.
I don't think this has to be answered. It is just no. I unask the question. Unasking the question. The question is not relevant.
Yeah. So you're right. It's a very about what you're saying, sir. The thing is, I don't think ancient women stayed at home.
Not at all. They were far more responsible. And if you say Gargi, there's so many tapasvinis, and they ran the society. And it is only the women's role or the women's responsibility was, according to what I read, is because of the invasions from the outside, especially the Muslim invasions. As I read, I'm not a historian. Women always had a very good position, and they continue to have. There may be small aberrations about which we should not worry. Like Trishant talked about his grandfather. I have whatever I am. It is all my mother's doing. She is more than goddess. For every little that she didn't speak about it, but she communicated so much. So women's role, we cannot belittle. There is no competition. It is a complement. I think Rabindranath Tagore's perspective is beautiful on the women and men's relationship. We should not consider it as a competition. It is a complementary thing. It is yin and yang, vag, artha, whatever it is. There is a combination of that. Unless we recognize that, we will get into confusion. It is inbuilt. It will repair itself. I don't have any problem with that.